tape has been prepared to demonstrate the proper steps to follow in the installation, operation, and maintenance of the Armstrong EHU-700 series humidifier. Please read and thoroughly understand the installation and operation instructions in Bulletin IB 527, supplied with your unit or available through your Armstrong representative. The EHU-700 series consists of 3 models: the EHU-701, the EHU-703, and the EHU-704. In this presentation, we will use an EHU-703 to demonstrate all procedures. Installation and operation of the EHU-701 and EHU-704 models are similar. Be aware that an electrical shock hazard from high voltages exists inside the humidifier. To protect yourself and others from accidental shocks, keep the humidifier locked during normal operation and store the key in a safe location away from the humidifier. Always disconnect the power supply at the circuit breaker or safety switch before opening any covers. Before servicing the humidifier, learn where the high-voltage parts are. Keep hands and metal tools away from these areas. Your shipment will arrive in 2 cartons. One carton contains the steam dispersion tube and fittings. The second carton holds the humidifier with the steam generator installed, the control humidistat and sensing element, 2 short steam hoses, hose clamps, a mounting plate and lag screws, and a clear drain hose. If you have ordered a duct pressure switch or a high limit stat, these 2 will be in the humidifier carton. 2 complete sets of installation instructions have been shipped with your unit. One is for the installer's use. The second is for the owner's files. EHU-700 humidifiers should be installed in accordance with all applicable building, plumbing, and electrical codes. Your electronic steam humidifier should be installed in an indoor location that allows accessibility for routine inspection and maintenance operations. Do not place electronic steam humidifiers in locations where unusual instances of malfunction of the humidifier or the system might cause damage to non-repairable, unreplaceable, or priceless property. The location should be close enough to the air duct so that the length of steam pipe is as short as feasible. The maximum recommended length for running insulated copper tube is 40 feet. The unit should have ready access to adequate electrical service, a supply of ordinary tap water, and a sewer to which the drain line can discharge wastewater. The EHU-700 series humidifier is intended to be mounted on a wall capable of supporting its maximum operating weight by means of the mounting bracket and lag screws provided. Making sure the mounting bracket is level, attach it to studs or other sturdy structure with the 2 3/8 by 1.5 inch lag screws provided. Hang the humidifier on the mounting bracket. Refer to the nameplate on the unit for the recommended fuse size. A complete wiring diagram is located inside the door of the humidifier. It is important that you observe the following. Make certain there is a manually operated interlocking circuit breaker or safety switch, not furnished, in the electric service accessible to and within sight of the humidifier. Use only properly sized wire with copper conductors rated 90 degrees Celsius or higher for high voltage and grounding. Ground the humidifier cabinet. A ground lug is provided in the wiring compartment. Connect the unit to the building water supply. Install a shutoff valve near the humidifier. Connect the water supply to the 3/8 inch tube compression fitting on the fill valve adapter. Ordinary tap water is recommended. If potable water is not available, consult the factory. Do not use brackish or contaminated water. Connect the humidifier to a suitable waste draining system. Use the clear drain hose provided and a 1-inch copper pipe pitched 1 inch per foot toward the drain. The drain water may be as hot as 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Drain it where it will not present a hazard to personnel. Verify that the proper length and type of steam dispersion tube has been selected. The low-capacity dispersion tube is sloped toward the generator to allow for gravity drainage. The high-capacity dispersion tube with a 1/2-inch OD drain tube must be used when the humidifier output capacity exceeds 40 pounds per hour. A chart showing the correct dispersion tube length for various duct sizes can be found in the written installation manual. Select a location on the duct that provides adequate length for vapor mixing and the shortest connection length to the humidifier. Preferably, the location should be 10 feet upstream of any dampers, vanes, bends in the duct, or controllers, such as a high-limit stat. Use the template provided to cut installation holes in the duct for the dispersion tube. Insert the dispersion tube into the duct so that the holes face upward, and fasten it to the outside of the duct with sheet metal screws. If the dispersion tube is 36 inches long or more, support the far end with a threaded rod or by similar means. A 1.5-inch to 1.25-inch reducer will be required to connect the dispersion tube to the steam pipe of EHU-703 and 704 models. In addition, a short length of nominal 1.5-inch threaded black iron pipe and a copper tube to female pipe thread adapter must be supplied by the customer for attaching the piping to 703 or 704 tanks. Connect the dispersion tube to the steam generator using customer-supplied hard copper tube and the 2 short hoses supplied with the humidifier. The EHU-701 requires 1.25-inch tube, and the EHU-703 and 704 models require 1.5-inch tube. The steam pipe must be free of kinks and sags and pitched toward the humidifier at 1 inch per foot to allow for gravity drainage of condensate. Pipe supports may be required to accomplish this. Insulate the copper tube to minimize condensation. The preferred installation of the dispersion tube is above the humidifier with a piping run of 20 feet or less. Refer to Bulletin 527 for special piping considerations if your installation falls outside these recommendations. Wiring to the low voltage controls should not run in the same conduit as the power supply wiring because faulty signals could result. The Series EHU-700 is compatible with a number of humidistats. To adapt the EHU-700 to these different types of control humidistats, jumper BJ4 on the printed circuit board must be manually changed, and the humidistat must be wired to the appropriate connections of terminals 1, 2, 17, and 20. For Armstrong humidistats, the BJ4 setting should read 1.9 to 3.9 volts. The white wire on the stat should be connected to terminal 2 of the humidifier, green to 1 and black to 20. For other humidistats, please consult Bulletin 527 and the manufacturer's recommendations. The wall-mounted control humidistat should be located where it will be exposed to the average air condition of the space to be humidified. Avoid areas of restricted air circulation or locations where the sensor will be subjected to air drafts, localized heat, or moisture sources. Locations near coffee machines, computer blower outlets, doors to other rooms, or windows that can be opened are not suitable. Duct-mounted control humidistats are also available for installation where sensing and control of the return air or exhaust air in the ducts is preferable. Limit switches should always be wired to open on fault. A duct-mounted high-limit stat is recommended as a precaution against localized saturation in the duct. Remove the jumper tab from terminals 10 and 14 and wire the high-limit stat between these terminals. An airflow switch is recommended to deactivate the humidifier when there is insufficient airflow in a duct system. A duct pressure switch is preferred as an airflow sensor. Remove the jumper tab between terminals 9 and 15 and wire the airflow sensor between these terminals. There is an external alarm circuit provided. When an alarm condition is detected during the diagnostic routines, a relay contact closes, allowing activation of an external Class 2 device connected between terminals 27 and 28. The EHU-700 series uses LED indicators to display the operation of the fill valve, the drain valve, the tank contactor, the high water switch, and the selected display mode. The buttons on the EHU-700 series must be pushed and held for approximately 1/2 second in order to engage their function. The Mode Select button is pushed to choose display modes. The 3-digit display switches between humidistat demand, actual amperage, the percent of maximum power, and the diagnostic codes. The 3-digit display exhibits a diagnostic code in the event that the unit has shut down automatically or when it has been placed in the diagnostic mode. The manual drain button will drain the tank. The tank will continue to drain until the button is pressed again. The tank on-off button will turn off the tank. The tank off light and the diagnostics light will be on, and the display will show the message CO8. The unit will stay in this condition until the button is pressed again. Before turning on the power, examine the wiring and the components in the electrical compartment and verify that all connections are tight. Ensure that limit switches are in place or that jumpers are connected between humidifier terminals 9 and 15, as well as 10 and 14. Next, turn on the water supply valve and check for any leaks. Turn on the power at the circuit breaker. The following should happen. The demand mode and tank off lights will be momentarily illuminated. The stat demand will be displayed. If the stat demand displayed is greater than 35%, the tank off light will go out, and a few seconds later the fill light will go on. The unit will begin to fill. If the stat demand display is greater than 35% and the unit does not begin filling, refer to Bulletin 527 for remedy. If the stat demand is less than 35%, force a 100% humidity demand. If you have an Armstrong humidistat, remove the humidistat sensing element. The unit will then start to fill and the tank off light will go out. If the humidistat is not the standard Armstrong stat, refer to Bulletin 527 and to the manufacturer's instructions for more information. Let the unit fill and allow the water to boil. If the water level reaches within 4 inches of the steam generator tank top, the high water float switch will block the fill and illuminate the high water light. This is normal on relatively pure water. To complete the startup testing in this situation, push the drain switch and drain half of the tank. Then turn off the power at the breaker or safety switch and add 1/2 teaspoon of Epsom salts to the fill cup. This should allow the water to boil more readily by increasing the water's conductivity. Reapply power to energize the humidifier. While the unit is filling, press the mode button until the current indicator lights. The current should increase as the unit fills. Press the mode button until the percentage of maximum power is indicated. This reading should also be increasing. When the unit stops filling, the numerical display should read a few points above 40%. when the percent power falls a few points below 40%, the fill valve should open again. Press the drain switch. Verify that the unit is draining freely. Notice that the fill light also comes on momentarily. This process tempers the drain water to less than 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Notice that while the unit is draining, the percent power and the current are decreasing. Verify that all of the input-output circuits are functioning properly by entering the input-output diagnostics mode. Press the Mode Select button until Diagnostic is indicated. After 10 seconds, the input-output circuit diagnostic check will begin. The display will show the message CO9, the tank will be off, and the diagnostics mode light will remain on. The diagnostics will first check all the output circuits, fill valve, drain valve, and tank contactor to make sure that they are working. When a light comes on, you will hear the corresponding valve or contactor circuit energize for about 2 seconds. Each circuit is checked twice before proceeding to the next circuit. Next, the microcontroller checks the status of all input circuits, beginning with the control stat. The 3-digit display will show 0% demand, then the actual stat demand. It will do this twice. The input diagnostics continues by checking the fan interlock switch, high-limit duct humidistat, and high water switch. The display will now show CO9, followed by any additional messages that indicate problems with the input circuits. When the I/O diagnostic check is finished, the demand mode light will be on, the display will show the stat demand, and the unit will return to normal operation. The complete I/O diagnostic check lasts less than 2 minutes. Inspect the steam outlet piping. Verify that there are no untrapped low spots. Also verify that the piping is insulated and properly sloped. If the dispersion tube is equipped with a drain fitting, verify that it is working. Return the humidifier to normal service by replacing the humidistat element or reversing any other procedure undertaken to force a demand. If humidification is being demanded, blow humidly on the humidistat element. The following should happen. The stat demand reading will decrease to 0. The unit will shut down, lighting the tank off light. Verify that the humidity set point is at the desired value. Turn the power off if humidification is not needed, close and lock the doors, and store the key away from the unit. One to 2 days after startup, you should check the operation of the unit. Look in the drain pan for leaks. Check the steam outlet piping for leaks. Observe duct low points for any signs of poor humidity distribution. Be sure the unit is draining freely by pushing the manual drain button. At periods ranging from 1 month to 1 year, depending on operating frequency and water supply conditions, you should repeat these 5 steps. At this time, you should also inspect the steam generator to determine if the tank or electrodes need to be cleaned or replaced. Tank cleaning is indicated when the unit has been in service for a period of time, deposits are visible through the tank walls, and the water level is rising above the normal level previously observed. Or, the tank needs cleaning message, CO2, is displayed. Tank replacement is indicated if the tank body becomes deformed in any way, as this could cause leakage around the O-ring. Electrode replacement may be indicated if the tank turns black or red, and/or if excessive arcing or flashing is visible inside the tank while it is operating. It is preferable that you replace the tank with a new or rebuilt unit and take the current tank to the shop for servicing. Turn the steam generator tank off by pressing the tank off button. Drain the tank by pressing the drain button. Check the drain valve for proper operation and good flow. It may take 5 minutes for a full tank to completely drain. Once the tank is completely empty, turn off the power at the main disconnect or breaker. Disconnect the steam hose from the top of the steam generator tank by loosening the hose clamp with a screwdriver or 5/16" nut driver. Be careful. The tank and hose may still be hot to the touch. Disconnect the power leads at the steam generator with a 7/16" wrench. 3 leads for 3-phase units, 2 leads for single-phase. See the wiring diagram inside the cabinet for specific details. Remove the tank from the cabinet by lifting it out of the drain adapter. Be careful, the tank may still contain hot water and steam. With the tank removed, inspect the drain adapter to ensure that it is free from deposits which may interfere with proper drainage. Install the tank into the EHU by lowering it into the drain adapter. Connect the steam hose to the top of the steam generator with the hose clamp. Connect power leads, and on EHU-703 and 704, the loose end of the jumper wires to electrode studs using a 7/16" wrench. 3 leads for 3-phase units, 2 for single-phase. Check all wiring connections at the main power, contactor, and control voltage terminal blocks, as well as on the generator itself. Energize the circuit breaker or main disconnect. Using a 7/16" wrench, disconnect the jumper wires from the steam generator. Remove the 24 metal clips by pushing gently on top of each clip with a screwdriver while cupping the clip with the other hand. Lift the top half of the tank free of the bottom half and rest it on the electrodes. Use a 3/4" wrench to loosen and remove the nuts from the 6 electrode studs. Lift the top tank half from the electrodes. Remove the O-ring from the lower tank half O-ring channel and put it aside for reuse. On high voltage units, lift the barrier assembly out of the bottom tank half. Clean out the tank halves and the barrier assembly if applicable. Empty any loose deposits from the bottom tank half. Both tank halves and the barrier assembly can be cleaned using a scraper, a stiff bristle brush, and water spray as required. If necessary, the drain screen may be removed for cleaning by unscrewing 3 screws and pushing up through the bottom tank connection with a screwdriver handle or other blunt object. The drain screen snaps back into place and is secured by the 3 screws after cleaning. Both the barrier assembly and the drain screen should be replaced with new parts if they are unserviceable. If the electrodes have begun to disintegrate, they should be replaced with new ones. If they are coated with mineral accumulations, however, they can be cleaned in the following manner. Obtain several gallons of muriatic acid. Muriatic acid is the name for commercial hydrochloric acid. It is available in most hardware, pool chemical, or farm supply outlets. Caution: muriatic acid can cause severe chemical burns if not handled properly. Wear rubber gloves and eye protection when using. Read and follow the label directions and safety procedures on any cleaning product. Check local codes before disposing of chemicals. Loose and/or soft deposits should be scraped from the exterior of the electrodes before chemical cleaning. Prepare the chemical cleaning solution as per manufacturer's recommendations and fill a plastic bucket to a sufficient level to soak the electrodes. Be certain not to submerge the electrodes beyond the level of the screen. Let the cleaning action take place for 15 minutes. Remove the electrodes from the bucket and rinse them thoroughly with a clean water spray. Observe the electrodes to determine if another treatment is necessary. It is not necessary for the electrodes to be cleaned down to bare metal. Removal of major accumulations is the only requirement. Install 1 electrode in the top tank half. Make sure the small O-ring is located at the bottom of the electrode stud. Slowly turn the electrode until it locks in place. Fasten the nut finger tight to the electrode stud. Repeat this process with the other 5 electrodes. Turn the tank top half upright and rest it on the electrodes. Tighten the nuts on all the electrode studs with a 3/4 inch wrench. Install the electrode jumper wires to the studs at the top of the tank. Fasten one end of the jumper wire with a washer and a 1/4 inch hex nut using a 7/16 inch wrench. There are 3 jumpers on a 3-phase unit and 4 jumpers on a single-phase unit. On a single-phase unit, you should have only 2 loose ends. Install the O-ring in the bottom tank half O-ring channel. A 3rd hand or weight may be needed to hold one end of the O-ring in place while the other end is being installed. Install the barrier assembly in the bottom tank half. Lower the top tank half onto the bottom tank half. Line up the marks on the top and bottom tank halves to properly center the electrodes. Look through the top connection to make sure the O-ring is still in place. Snap a metal clip over the flanges of the tank halves midway between 2 alignment marks. Position another clip on the opposite side of the tank. Install all 24 clips in this manner. By following the steps outlined in this tape and referring to Instruction Bulletin IB 527, the EHU-700 series written manual, you should experience a completely satisfactory installation. Should problems arise with the operation of your EHU-700 series humidifier, or if you have questions of any kind, please contact Armstrong International in 3 Rivers, Michigan, or your area Armstrong representative.